At Christmas, enslaved people were given alcohol. Here's the part. History hopes you never connect. My name is Noreen and this is Real Africa Stories. Every Christmas we're told stories about kindness, charity, goodwill. But I want to take you somewhere specific, Jamaica, 1700s. On British sugar plantations, Christmas was one of the only breaks enslaved Africans were allowed all year. For 2 or 3 days, forced labour paused. Plantation records show this clearly. Enslaved Africans were given extra food. They were given rum rations. They were allowed to gather, dance and drink. And history often describes this as generosity. But one British plantation owner, Edward Long, wrote in 1774 that these Christmas celebrations helped keep enslaved people contented. That word matters. Contented didn't mean joyful. It meant compliant. The alcohol wasn't random. It was deliberate. Planters believed rum dulled exhaustion, softened anger, and reduced the risk of organised resistance after months of brutal labour. And this wasn't only happening in Jamaica. In Barbados, one of Britain's most violent sugar colonies, Christmas drinking was allowed during John Conu celebrations, but overseers stayed nearby. Timings were fixed. The alcohol was never handed out, never owned. Freedom measured in hours. Now, let's be precise about who this was happening to. These weren't people who had somehow lost their culture. They were Africans. Akan, Igbo, Congo, Yoruba, Mande. Many were African-born. Others were one generation removed from Africa. And this matters because the use of alcohol as a tool didn't start on plantations. European traders had already learned on African soil that alcohol could be used to weaken negotiations, create dependency, disrupt leadership and resistance. This is documented in Portuguese and British trading records along the West and Central African coast. So what you're seeing at Christmas in Jamaica, in Barbados and across the African continent isn't new behaviour. It's a continuation, a tactic first tested in Africa, then carried across the Atlantic. And there's another reason Christmas mattered. Planters feared African resistance most after the harvest season, when bodies had slightly recovered, when communication moved between plantations, when memory and strategy could reform. So Christmas became a controlled interruption. Alcohol disrupted African rhythms of planning, discipline and resistance. Frederick Douglass, enslaved in Maryland, later named this clearly. He wrote that enslavers preferred enslaved people to be drunk rather than thoughtful, because drunkenness creates disorder, thinking creates rebellion. And here's the cruel twist. The same system that encouraged drinking at Christmas later used it as evidence. See, they lack discipline. They can't govern themselves. The trap was set first, the judgment came later. Christmas also gave slavery moral cover. Christian language, charity, mercy, a short performance of kindness before the violence resumed the next day. But enslaved Africans were not passive in this. They used Christmas gatherings to protect culture, drumming, song, storytelling, memory. Even inside a system designed to break them, Africans remembered who they were. So when you hear that alcohol was a Christmas gift to the enslaved, name it properly. It wasn't generosity, it was management. And power often hides itself best when it looks like kindness. This is the Africa you're not shown, but I'm here to show you.